I've spent much of the last 30 years trying to persuade millions of people across the world that learning to express truth more consistently and more effectively would improve the planet. And one of the things I think I've paid far too little attention to until the last 4 years is that equally important is our capacity to receive truth, and that there are ways that we can get better at that. So I want to introduce to us a word today that I hope will become part of our shared vocabulary. The word is Feedsmacked. Any of you ever been Feedsmacked? Some will say that feedback is the breakfast of champions. I would say that Feedsmack is their enema. Feedsmack is a rude delivery of a colossal amount of information, some of which may well be true. But the question is,
we'll do it live.
Have you ever gotten it? I'm going to use it 5 more times in the next few minutes. So turn to your partner. When have you gotten something unexpected, something huge, something startling like that? Turn to your partner and share, what's the sentence? What did you hear? All right. Let's pull back together, both mentally and emotionally. So I've started reflecting on this idea of receiving truth versus sharing truth. And sometimes the truth can come with a whole lot of noise in it as well. But being able to receive feedback, and what is that process like, and how can we get better at it? As I've reflected on it, I came across an episode in my own experience of receiving one of these kind of feed-smack moments. I was working with a very powerful senior HR executive on a project that I was intensely interested in. The project was going pretty well, but one day we had a meeting with the senior executive team, and afterwards I sent a summary email out. Apparently, he didn't like me sending the email without checking with him. I'm sitting at my desk after clicking send. He saw the email. I pick up the phone, and it's his voice on the other end saying this, followed by this, followed by this, and then click. My heart was racing, my mouth was dry. I was sitting there just overwhelmed by this. It was an incredible experience. But now that we understand that these episodes that occurred, we wanted to ask people, what was your experience and what was the effect afterwards of this? 90% said they felt some version of dumbfounded, flabbergasted, shocked, stunned, or numb. Now, what's interesting is what's missing from that list. 40% said they felt some sort of shame-related emotion, embarrassment, worthlessness, hurt, sadness, and self-doubt. But notice how few came back with anger or betrayal. We typically think that's going to be the response. It's going to be fight, not flight. But most of us just kind of recoil, and we're stunned, and we freeze. Now, if you look at that, you might say to yourself, well, that defines the problem, but I want to open that as a question. What is the problem? Why do these experiences have such a profound and lasting effect on us? And is there an antidote? And if so, where is the fix? So we asked people to describe these specific episodes, and we started to understand a little bit more about the principles behind a solution to dealing with these moments by examining some of these in more careful detail. One woman said, I work in a family business. When I asked my uncle, one of the founders, for feedback, he said, you should be more like Linda. And then she gives a little background. She says, I was dumbfounded. The person he said I should be like was petite, flirty, coy, flattering to men. I'm tall, independent, resourceful, self-reliant, straightforward, and I work well with men as equals. That's how she sees herself. But I want you to look, in spite of the fact that she's strong, self-reliant, resourceful, she says after this event, even though it happened decades ago, it's still staying with me. Why? Why do these moments when information comes at us unexpected have such scarring and enduring effects? And is there an important life lesson for us to learn from that fact, from that finding? Prior to doing this study, I began working with a community that some of you are somewhat familiar with. It's called the Other Side Academy. I want you to take that picture in for just a moment. Sitting in front of you are people who collectively have served about 600 or 700 years in prison and jail, have lived for hundreds of years on the street. The average person in that picture has committed 25 felonies, been arrested 25 times. Most of them are from deeply, deeply broken lives. Let me introduce you to just a few of them. I'll show you the pictures as they arrive at the Other Side Academy. This is how they show up. Now, one of the people in this picture was introduced at meth by her mother at age 5. One of them lived for years on the streets using her body as an ATM just to stay high. Another was abused relentlessly by his mother and father. Another was jumped into a gang by going and stabbing a sleeping homeless person. And another on here shot his first victim at age 14. So that's the Other Side Academy. Now, the startling additional truth is that community is one of the healthiest and most productive I have ever encountered. I would hold them up against any organization in this room. And the question is, how do they get that way? Here's how. So Friday night of this week, they're going to sit in groups of 20 in a circle and give each other relentless feed smack, not feedback. This is not the best place in the world to learn crucial conversation skills. In fact, I want you to hear some of the messages some of them are going to get. So a few of them are going to tell you some of the things that were told to them about themselves by their brothers and sisters in the house.
So I'm fake, I'm arrogant, and I'm a liar.
I sell out for women, and I'm spineless.
I'm a bully, and I have no boundaries.
I'm sneaky, and I'm duplicitous, and I think I'm better than others.
I'm unapproachable, I don't care about others, and I'm a jerk, although they use a different term.
I'm a homeboy, and I got no boundaries.
I'm mean, I don't care about people, and I'm selfish.
I'm a fake, I'm manipulative, and I'm a monster.
Kind of tough stuff to hear, right? But it's interesting because as people say that to them, the focus is not on the person giving the feedback. The focus isn't you need to learn to deliver this better. The focus instead is a different phrase, and I want you to listen to it. You're going to listen to an excerpt from a game, and you're going to hear a recurring phrase. I want you to see if you can pull it out from the context, because it's a powerful idea.
But no, you're too caught up in Jordan. What Jordan's got going on.
You're gonna help me?
I will help you. Take a game, Jordan.
Sit there and take a game.
We all care about you, and you're sitting over there. I didn't do that. I don't remember that. It's weird how you don't remember all of a sudden. It's just like your life, man.
Come on, man, take your game, Greg.
And you are a sometimes, Tiffany. You come down and you are just ornery. It's like, leave me the hell alone. That's just the vibe you put off.
It doesn't even work. You guys don't even leave me alone. You're always freaking talking to me.
This is what we do. That's what we do.
What's the phrase? Yeah, powerful phrase. Who are they talking to? The one giving and the one receiving? Yeah, the focus is the one receiving. Take your game. Learn to listen to the game. And watch what happens when they do. The guy in the green hoodie there is a man named Marlon. When he arrived, he was one of the most emotionally brittle, defensive, angry people I have ever met. When he was in games, he would explode almost on contact. And yet over time, as he learns to sit and listen to truth and winnow it out for what's essential for him, watch what starts to happen. You're going to see a game come at him pretty hard, but I want you to watch how he responds.
And instead of just even asking him, what are you doing, or giving him some help, you just jump straight down his throat. The guy's been here like, 3 months, and you just bit his head off. When are you gonna stop doing that, man? When are you gonna stop personalizing everything, making all the supplies yours, and just, be a little more empathetic, be a leader, act like you've been here 3 years instead of 3 days. When is that gonna happen?
Yeah, I never thought about that. I never thought about what he was trying to do. It was all about what I was doing, and
It's me.
Is that incredible? Who knows how to do that? A guy that's been arrested 25 times, lived on the streets, been in and out in jail, and he would be the envy of any of us in terms of emotional maturity. So I started trying to study, how does this happen? How do you learn to live in a torrent of truth and to be able to take out the things that would benefit from you? And what I've found has implications not just for these difficult moments, but for our entire lives, as you're about to see. So at first I started to look at this from a skill perspective. And I asked the students, are there some things that you've learned to do that help you take your game better, to receive this feed smack in a gracious kind of way? And listen to what they've got to say. It's some profound stuff.
First of all, I try to breathe and wait at least 5 seconds before I respond and kind of process the information. More importantly, I tell myself, I'm safe.
I just sit back in my chair and just remind myself that I'm safe.
I tell myself that there is value in everything that is said, whether they are wrong and I learn something about them, whether they're right and I learn something about me.
Breathe.
I think of the man I am striving to be.
I sit back in my chair and just kind of take a deep breath and relax.
I remind myself that it's not about me, it's about the other person who's letting me know my behaviors, holding me accountable, and setting boundaries for themselves.
I just remind myself it's an opportunity to take control of my life, and I need to be curious in how my actions affect other people.
Pretty profound stuff, isn't it? Now, as you sort through it, there are some definite patterns, some skills, and you could describe them with the acronym CURE. First of all, they have strategies for collecting themselves, reflexive strategies. Things like you heard, just breathing, take a breath. So when it's coming at you, just take a breath, calm yourself. Second, they try to connect with their feelings. Don't disconnect. You have secondary feelings when you ignore the primary ones. You get angry and defensive when you can't experience the fact that you're feeling hurt or sad. And finally, reframing. They'll use little phrases like, the man that I'm trying to become, or this can't hurt me, or just because I make mistakes doesn't mean I am a mistake. Things that help them just collect themselves. Second, they make their task to understand. There's brilliance in this. Time is your friend in these moments. Take it. Just ask questions. Just explore. Take the spotlight off you and put it on them. Ask questions to understand. Some of the students will use a phrase at the conclusion of this. They'll say that people throw 50s on it, right? What that means is that the feedback is often exaggerated, but don't react to that. Just ask questions and try to understand. Detach yourself from it. This isn't about me. This is about how they feel to start with. I'll sort it all out later. Get yourself curious, as Jordan said there towards the end. Third, they recover. Oftentimes at the conclusion of a 20 or 25-minute intense game, a student will say, I'll take a look at that. I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing. I'll take a look at it. And then you go out and recover. Let yourself work through all the emotions related to it, and finally, engage. Engage both with the truth. Try to winnow through it. Ask yourself, is there some element, some kernel of fact in here, something that would benefit me in the person that I'm trying to become? And then finally engage with the other person. Go back to them. Let them know what you agree with. Share additional perspective if you need to. So there are skills, there are patterns.